Adios, my friends! You know Saturn's rings are one of the most iconic sights in our solar system. But what if our own planet had similar rings? Would nights become brighter? Would seasons change? Could airplanes still fly? And most importantly, would humans even exist today? Let's find out. Contrary to what movies show, Saturn's rings are not solid circles. They're made of billions of tiny particles. Some are as small as grains of sand. Others are the size of mountains. Most of them are made of ice mixed with rocks. Together, they stretch over 280 kilometers across space, yet amazingly, most parts of the rings are only around 10 to 100 meters thick. Imagine something wider than Earth, but thinner than a football stadium. Nature is weird. Now let's imagine Earth magically gets rings overnight. The first thing everyone would notice is the sky. Near the equator, the rings would appear like a brilliant glowing arch stretching from one horizon to another. At sunrise, they would shine golden. At sunset, they would glow orange and pink. At night, they would reflect sunlight and moonlight, making darkness much less dark. Cities might need fewer streetlights. Astronomers, however, would absolutely hate it. Many stars would disappear behind the rings. Deep space observations would become much more difficult. Here's where things become serious. Earth's rings would cast enormous shadows. Certain parts of the planet would receive less sunlight, especially around the equator. That means cooler temperatures, changing wind patterns, and possibly stronger seasonal variations. Rainfall could shift dramatically. Entire ecosystems would need to adapt. Some forests might disappear. New deserts could form. Ocean currents could change. In other words, our climate system would be completely rewritten. This is where modern civilization starts panicking. Thousands of satellites orbit Earth today. GPS, internet, weather forecasting, banking, television, military communication. If Earth's rings occupied those orbital paths, many satellites couldn't exist. Launching rockets would become much more dangerous. Every launch would need to avoid billions of icy rocks flying around the planet at thousands of kilometers per hour. One mistake, and the mission is over. Even the International Space Station probably wouldn't exist where it is today. Here's something most people never think about. If Earth had rings for billions of years, our evolution itself might have been different. Different climates, different migration routes, different ecosystems could completely change which species survive. Perhaps humans would still evolve, or maybe another intelligent species would dominate the planet instead. History isn't guaranteed. Can completely rewrite evolution. Despite all these problems, Earth would become one of the most breathtaking planets in the solar system. Tourism would be incredible. Artists would never run out of inspiration. Every sunset would look like a masterpiece. Every photograph would include a gigantic celestial ring crossing the sky. Different countries would even see the rings differently. Near the equator, they would appear directly overhead. Near the poles, they might barely be visible. People would literally travel around the world just to experience different views of the sky. But there's another problem. Rings don't last forever. Gravity constantly pulls material inward. Some particles slowly fall toward the planet. Others escape into space. Over millions of years, Earth would experience regular meteor showers. Most would burn up harmlessly. Some wouldn't. Large impacts could become more common. Civilizations might have to build better planetary defenses. So, would rings make Earth more beautiful? Absolutely. Would they also make life more complicated? Without question. Sometimes, the things that look most magical come with hidden consequences. And maybe that's true not only for planets, but for life itself. If you looked up tonight and saw giant glowing rings across the sky, what would be the first thing you'd do? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy science explained through simple questions, subscribe for more. Because sometimes asking what if helps us understand reality even better.